Today on the trail, I'm in a little neighborhood inside Cleveland, Ohio, to sit down with Sam McNulty and his brewmaster, Andy Tavikram, at the Market Garden Brewery to discuss their craft beer empire. I find out more about Ohio City at Town Hall Urban Cafe with beer and design guy Mark Fraboda and bar manager Adam Heath.
Ohio City is the beer destination of Cleveland. We've got Great Lakes Brewery, which is the flagship brewery in Cleveland. A lot of different local breweries / restaurants. They kind of all house in the same building and area. Everything on the street is about good beer and good food.
Sam, thank you so much for being a part of the show. Tell me, how many bars, breweries, restaurants do you own just on this street?
My partners and I have 5 places, all right here on West 25th Street in Ohio City.
Once upon a time, I think say about over 100 years ago, this was the brewery district. I think we're up to 4 breweries in the area, soon to be 6.
I would say Ohio City is number 2 in the country, second only to Portland, Oregon, in terms of its density of craft brewers and craft brew pubs. It all started 26 years ago when Great Lakes Brewing Company opened up. They were the first craft brewer in the state, and then this neighborhood has really grown and thrived since then.
They've done a good job of relating Cleveland, to their beer, kind of keeping it a hometown, feel with everything. All the naming of all their beers, based on certain things that have happened throughout Cleveland's history, so it's pretty nice.
We all know the Burning River. Our river caught fire not once, not twice, but 3 times, so we have a pale ale named after that now.
Who hasn't had a river that's caught fire 3 times? I'm proud to be from Cleveland.
Yeah, they have a whole festival named after the Burning River that actually funds environmental cleanup and funds EPA initiatives to clean up the river. So it kind of they named a beer after a dark moment in Cleveland's history, but turned it into a positive to raise money to prevent stuff like that from happening.
Is it strangely enough, the Edmund Fitzgerald, the sunken ship?
That's what I like about the Cleveland beers. We really embrace the tragedy here. What have you done specifically to grow the craft beer scene here?
Besides drinking a lot of it myself? No, just opening up restaurants and bars that, along with very delicious chef-driven food concepts, we pair the food with craft beers. Many of which brewmaster Andy Tavikram here at Market Garden Brewery, creates the recipes for, and we brew large scale in our 10-barrel brew house.
Now you talk about pairing up beers with food, very common thing to do. Since we're in Cleveland, I want to pair beers with historic Cleveland sporting team losses. In 2009, Cavs 3rd round loss against the Orlando Magic. What beer do you pair with that loss?
I would say our Trouble IPA brewed with honey. Hence the name. It can cause a little trouble, and sometimes our sports teams get in a little trouble and don't quite make the cut. So that's a good pairing right there.
If you guys were going to name a beer of your own, what kind of names would you come up with?
Man, Frostbite. Actually, I think I would change it to Potholes.
Potholes?
Like Imperial Stout or something. Yeah, it's been pretty brutal.
Something thick enough, tar-like, that you could actually fill up a pothole with.
Yeah.
The 1987 AFC Championship, the Cleveland Browns against Denver Broncos. Many Clevelanders know this as the Drive. What beer would you pair it with that?
Well, I guess since they totally blew it with the Drive, that would have to be the Danny Green Enforcer. So it's an Imperial Stout named after a historic Cleveland Irish mafioso who had multiple attempts on his life, several of which were car bombs, and his own apartment building got bombed. So I think that's a good pairing right there.
Andy Tavikram, head brewmaster here at Market Garden Brewery. Andy, cheers.
Cheers.
Let's just have a sip here.
Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you. Tough loss. The 1997 Cleveland Indians World Series loss. They're up in the 9th inning, and they blew it.
Don't I know it?
Yes.
It was a complete clusterfuggle. Now, cluster and fuggle are 2 hop varietals. So Andy decided to borrow both names, put them together, and our Cleveland IPA is hence named Clusterfuggle. So I think it is an apt description for what happened on the field there.
That is appropriate in so many ways.
It wasn't really known as a community where people would walk the streets, 10 years ago.
My mom was not at all thrilled that I was setting up shop in this neighborhood. We went from a place where most folks did not want to visit because they didn't feel safe, to now it's a robust entertainment district. There's a lot of folks coming from all over the state and out of state to visit Ohio City just to enjoy the craft beer and the great restaurants.
And now all of a sudden you have foot traffic, people out and about, and it's basically because of the businesses that have, shown up on the street, which are primarily beer.
Today we've got 2 Ohio beers. We've got the Jackie O's Waka 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 Double IPA. It's fun to say. And we have the Fatheads Hop Juju, also double IPA. That one's from right here in Cleveland.
I feel like I'm trying wine every time I try it. Almost has a very light, fruity scent to it.
Oh, yeah. Citrus. This is probably their, I don't want to say flagship beer, but their most popular. Brew it in very, very limited quantity. Once, maybe twice a year.
It's like a delicacy.
I think only 9 or 10 kegs were released to the public this year.
Whoa.
So yeah, it's,
This is $14 worth of beer right here.
yeah. They're an award winner.
One of the better craft breweries in Cleveland.
This drink is delicious. I'll have another. So, double IPA. This is surprisingly easy to drink.
Oh yeah. They actually sometimes become a little bit sweeter with the more alcohol. Creates a little bit more sugar profile.
If you could only drink one Cleveland beer for the rest of your life, which one would you pick?
I'm gonna go with Fatheads Headhunter. I'd say that's their flagship IPA. It's available all year round.
Actually, strangely enough, I lave Elliott Ness. It's always been one of my favorites.
Great Lakes,
Down the road.
within spitting distance. We should go outside and try and spit there. It's so close.
The great part about them is they have a good sense of community as well, and they embraced us when we opened, and they do a lot of specialty beers just for us.
Well, the main ingredient, the most basic of ingredients, is the water. And we're kind of lucky to have Lake Erie sitting right out there half a mile from here. It's a great buffer, so the water is very stable, doesn't change a lot. And it's very good for brewing beer. It's got a nice mineral profile for a lot of the beers we make. And that makes it a little bit easier than other places that are challenged with their water supply.
Certainly. So you use the water from Lake Erie. It goes into your beer.
Yeah.
I thought this tastes a little bit like pollution.
It's a much cleaner water supply than you would think.
Wider City for sure has benefited from craft beer creating jobs. They're essentially like manufacturing jobs, and the money stays in the community when the beer's made here and enjoyed here as well.
This is one of our samplers, so we got 4 different beers. You can see a nice range of color, and if you were to taste them, you'd see quite a range of flavor as well.
Ohio City proper is kind of the epicenter of Cleveland's craft beer scene. In the neighborhood renaissance was definitely fueled by craft beer.
People are becoming very, they're challenging themselves to try new things, new styles, new flavors.
This is brewed with rattlesnake in it.
The cloudy one, that's the wheat beer. This is our Clusterfuggle IPA. This is the Boss. It's an amber lager, so it's a Vienna-style beer. And then this is our stout, the St. Emmerich's. It's an Irish-style stout. It's named for the church right around the corner.
Drink local.
Drink local.
What is next for Market Garden, Sam McNulty's properties here?
For our little beer empire?
Yes.
Well, we've got a...
Empire of the Beers.
Yes. We've got a little production brewery that we're building. We bought a building right behind the parking lot here. So it's going to house a production brew house. Not a huge one, 35-barrel brew house. Just the right size for the building, for the neighborhood. And we're going to run a lot of tours through there. It's going to have a great retail presence. So people are going to want to come over there, walk around inside the brewery, taste some of the beers we have on tap. And then hopefully they'll come over here to the brew pub and have some food, some more beer. And I think it's going to be a great draw for the neighborhood.
We're here in Ohio City, a little neighborhood inside Cleveland, Ohio. We're going to try some of Cleveland's finest beer today. I feel like it's really cold out here. All I can see is a fog of my breath. Back here.
I always feels awkward on camera.
Oh, yeah, that at first, just getting the camera warmed up,
Yeah.
No one likes the way they sound on camera.
I don't like the way I look or sound.
We'll do it again.